Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Can you hear me? Okay. So welcome to 2023 National Conference on High-Speed Rail. Many of you in this room today have been working for years to bring high-speed rail to America. And now I'm thrilled to say that after years of struggle, we are finally turning a corner. For the first time in decades, we can say with confidence that high-speed trains will be rolling in America in a few short years. We now have an administration that is committed to bringing high-speed rail to America with funds from the historic bipartisan infrastructure law. We have formed a dynamic coalition of labor unions, businesses, environmental organizations, and progressives working together to make U.S. high-speed rail a reality. And our first speaker this morning has been a major reason why millions of Americans will be riding high-speed trains in the not-too-distant future. The great Speaker Emerita of the United States House of Representatives, please welcome Nancy Pelosi.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to once again, I think it was 10 years ago, we were here in between then and now in San Francisco, but on other occasions when we come together to talk about the difference that high-speed rail will make. Let us thank Andy for his vision. He has been there from the start. Where'd he go? He left. And thank all of you for what you do. I know that some of my colleagues will be coming in the course of the morning. Jim Costa has been a real champion on this, relentless, persistent, dissatisfied, impatient, the rest. And also Zoe Lofgren, who heads up our part of our delegation, the Democratic side of it, and Dina Titus from Nevada, hopefully will be here. But in any event, so many people in Congress have been committed to high-speed rail. Now, I'm here, I was thinking about all of you yesterday when I knew that so many of you would be here. And I thank all of you for the role that you have played. This is very, very important to our country. Just a few days ago in San Francisco, we observed the driving of the Golden Spike railroads, a difference it made to our country to have transcontinental railroad. It's not just about transportation, it's about everything, about changing the economy, the culture, the job situation in our country. As we are more aware these days of the climate crisis and the rest, what better thing can we do but to continue to invest in high-speed rail? We're talking about people from one city to the next. Like the other day, I went to Los Angeles Saturday. I was just going down for one speech and back. It's going to be really fast, except there was a disabled plane on one of the runways in LA, which held up the flights going into LA. And that made all the difference in the world in time. The reason I mention that is because over time, in terms of transportation writ large, I have been told we have almost exhausted our ability to build more runways. If we're going to get people from one city to the next, especially in our state of California, where the distances can be great, we have to have something other than just depending on more runways, more airplanes, and the rest, as important as that is. So high-speed rail, what is it about? We're talking about the climate crisis. It's about getting more cars off the road. We're talking about quality of life. It's about getting people to and from their destination faster. If we're talking about housing, it's about getting people from lower cost places of housing to work faster. And that's throughout our state, if I speak just from our experience. If we're talking about job creation, building the railroads, the high-speed rail, and the commerce that it produces, we're talking about good paying union jobs. And I know some of our friends in labor are here, Mr. Reagan, Mr. DeVito, and let me see, there's Reagan, Who else? Caldwell, Tony Caldwell. Tony, here. Thank you all for what you are doing, because we're talking about good paying union jobs. But it's not just the jobs to build. It's the jobs that, again, as I mentioned, getting people to work in commercial centers who can't afford to live in those places. And in California, especially in the Bay Area, we know that we need to have more transit. Now, we have a president who, every time we address this issue in conversations, says, I'm a high-speed rail president. I took the train every, I don't have to tell you. Now, I have to say, was very partial to the Northeast Corridor in the legislation, but he knows the importance of high-speed rail. And again, you all are making it happen, and I'm grateful to you for that. Because again, if we're talking about the climate crisis and what that means in terms of jobs, quality of life, et cetera, security, and the rest, we are, look, it's a security, it's a jobs issue. We know that. It's a health issue, clean air for our kids. It's a security issue, because if we stop the crisis, we also will contain the conflict that can spring from a competition for resources and habitat. And I'm speaking globally now in terms of what this means. If we're talking about security, that's really important. And it's a value that we have to make the future, the planet safer for our children. Rest. High-speed rail does this in a very direct way. Now, it's all about the money. And that is what I'm very pleased that what we hear so far, no commitment, but nonetheless shared value, shall we say, and we're still optimistic about what we might get out of the infrastructure bill, the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And it's pretty exciting. So we've been making this fight for a long time, too long. One of the questions some people ask me all the time is, how come the US is behind on this? I've been on high-speed rail in Japan, I've been on high-speed rail in China and the rest. And I can say in China, for example, I was I wanted to go to Shenzhen to see what they were doing with some other climate technologies. And they said, well, we'll take you there by high-speed rail from Beijing to Shenzhen, say the distance between San Francisco and Fresno. We get on, we take the ride. At the end, the conductor says, Beijing to Shenzhen, 29 minutes and 30 seconds. That was his way of saying it took less than half an hour, which is what they were advertising. But imagine what it means in a community. I mean, you can commute. You can commute, but think of what that means on both ends of that scale. But of course, in a place like China, you don't have to worry about environmental or any other kind of, shall we say, differences of opinion along the way, or easements and you know better than I. So that can go faster. But nonetheless, not to diminish our commitment to our regulations to make things fair and community involved. Nonetheless, we have to move this forward. There is no excuse. We have the resources, we have the opportunity, we have the know-how. We just have to get the job done. Now, I understand that there now is enthusiasm from Nevada to LA, from Las Vegas to LA. What are we calling that now? It has a name. It's called the what? The Bright Line West. Let's hope that we can get resources for that as well. But again, California has been in line for a while. We want to do it all. We want to do it all. And there's no reason why we shouldn't, at the federal level, make the adequate investments to do it all. Because again, it is about jobs. It's about quality of life. It's about saving the planet. It's about promoting commerce. And in places where we have produce, it's about getting product to market where time is involved. It's about time. So it's about time that we get this done. And I thank all of you for what you have done to move that timeline. So some people, it was inevitable. I mean, inconceivable. They didn't even want it in their state and all that. Inconceivable. To us, it is inevitable. We had to shorten the distance between the inconceivable to some and the inevitable to us. And to do that, our hopes are riding on you. So thank you for your advocacy, your leadership, the knowledge you bring to this, the vision that we all share, and the opportunity that we have because of the Biden administration. Secretary Buttigieg, Mitch Landrieu, I think he's going to be here at some point, has been wonderful to listen, to learn, and really to have his own ideas about all of this. So thanks for the opportunity to share with you some of the enthusiasm of our California. I can only speak from our California standpoint, the enthusiasm that we have for this. We're very proud that our state has lived up to its obligations in terms of moving this along. And again, hopefully the next time we come together, maybe we can be at a site celebrating. Well, it'll take a little more time. Perhaps we'll be together sooner than that. But in any event, let me just close by saying this. Did I say close already? At the beginning of our country, when President Thomas Jefferson was president, he instituted the first infrastructure bill. It was called the Gallatin Project. Gallatin was the Secretary of Treasury, and he tasked him to build infrastructure into our country. Louisiana Purchase, Lewis and Clark Expedition, all those things. The Cumberland Road, the Erie Canal, all those kinds of things to make, again, our country in communication with each other. 100 years later, and the anniversary, the President of the United States was Teddy Roosevelt, and he did his infrastructure initiative. It was called the National Park Service. So he did all of those wonderful things that we're so blessed with because of his leadership and his commitment to nature. And this is about nature. And both of those are culminating now. We didn't get a chance on the 100-year anniversary, 200-year anniversary of the Gallatin Project. But again, we're in range. We've been working on it for a while, but we have to have the decisions made, the actions taken so that we can go forward to show that progress in infrastructure in our country, it goes forward. And we see even more clearly than they may have then what it means to, again, to the safety of our planet, to the growth of our population and the mobility of our people, to the respect that we have for the products from the land, the produce that we get things in a timely fashion. So for all these and other reasons, I'm very grateful to all of you for what you do. And we're very proud of our leadership in California and at the state level, our members of Congress who are committed to this. And if you see Jim Costa, say, okay, Jim, we got it. Because he has really been a relentless champion on all of this. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you this morning. Good luck to you in your deliberations, and hopefully we come out of this advanced down the road. Again, our hopes are riding on you. Thank you so much. Thank you.